and you're looking at hornets that cannot get their act together and never have.
And they don't seem to care a damn about the nest.
And they don't understand. So the hornets have to face themselves. Not that they're not willing to aid. Remember, these people, these beings, these things, and this is a strong point I'm making here, have been for tens of thousands of years, if not hundreds of thousands, intervene in every way, shape, or form to bring us to evolving. What has been determined? Everything under the book has been tried, under the sun, under the stars, and we're still the same. It's our nature.
Yeah.
We have to do it ourselves.
Is the future set, or are we only talking about probabilities?
If you let the river run, it'll run its course, and it's set. You can change the course of a river, but what I've learned over the years is, and I've discussed this with you on the side, that and I'm learning as I go, the butterfly theory couldn't be any more the opposite. Time, if you put time in a river sense, which is more ambiguous and complex than that, but if you put it in the sense of a strong flowing river, in order to alter a very mighty and powerful river that's going to run its course and you know where it's going to go, it takes a tremendous amount of energy to make the slightest change. So if you let the river go, naturally the flow of time will keep going.
Where's the river headed right now?
Well, it's not a straight line.
Okay, good answer. But is it heading in a general direction? Are you optimistic?
I know I'm optimistic about the part, as I said earlier, that a handful relative to the population on the planet now survive all the upcoming environmental garbage. Only but a handful, relatively speaking. And then past that, we evolve and repopulate. Now, I know the technology. I'm not saying I claim I can build a time machine, but I've seen the technology several times more than once and experienced the technology several times more than once in many different ways, face to face, of us, even us, coming back from the future in my face. It's amazing how this thing has evolved from horror the first 6 years to an interaction that's fantastic. However, and it's the same thing. Yeah, we make it, but not all of us do before we get there. Well, what do we want to see? We want to see all of us, if not most of us at least, get past that point. This is a very hard thing to do because, A, it's hard to change the river of time. It's strong, it's resilient, it wants to snap back. Time once set, wants to stay there. But it can be. So unfortunately, we're on a pretty screwed up course, which is self-destruction with our planet.
Have you been shown a possible future or a probable future as some kind of a warning? It's like, you know, this is where we're headed if we don't change this river. Have you been shown something like this?
Well, without going into great detail,
something that
after we evolve, I think is where I want to go right now, which is as we understand things now, as we see things now, it's fantastic. We can't just sit back and say, oh, gee, we do evolve, because we repopulate again and regroup and so forth. The push is to get us to bring most of us, if not all of us, there.
So it gets worse before it gets better, and we've got to rise to the challenge.
It will. Oh, absolutely it will. But when it will and how it will, it almost doesn't take much of an imagination. You know, if you start looking at CO2 levels, if you start seeing where the rainforest is, if you start seeing, I can go on and on with the environmental things. What's going to, the way out is the fact that we have the brain power, we have the raw resources, we have the technologies. They're hidden from us, and for very good reason, for the most part. But from where we're at right now, these things need to come out. And they need to come out to change the face of the earth as we know it.
What's the one message that you would like to leave viewers with? If you were in a position to say something that everyone would remember, or take note of, or act upon, what would that be?
Look within yourself and really, really see where we're at. Vision in your mind, vision in your heart, vision in your soul, the globe. vision all of us on it, see us as a species evolved, and then think in your mind from where you're at now to where you see us evolved with all the wonderful things that I just said, what steps should be taken to get us there or to get me there? And how can I participate in bringing us there as a species?
We've got a little piece of videotape here, which we recorded just a short while ago from somebody who obtained a model of a grey. We would like to know your reactions to this, and this is unprepared, this is live, these are your spontaneous reactions, and just give us your live responses.
For starters, we did have a phone conversation, speaking of the gentleman, Bill Holden, briefly, but in very vague detail. You described a little bit of background. I had asked you during that conversation, which was yesterday, what his interaction was in reality to extraterrestrials, as far as did he see any and things of that nature. On the phone, you mentioned to me yesterday that he had, but you didn't go into much detail, but that he was on Air Force One. I believe you said he was a steward. I also believe you said that, as I remember, that he had some interaction with President Kennedy. And as you mentioned also that he, President Kennedy at the time said, admitted to him that he is aware of extraterrestrials and UFOs, and you didn't go into any detail past that. Then you mentioned briefly that Mr. Holden, his involvement had changed in the years. He had some sort of security clearance, and that you had pictures perhaps, or he had experienced UFOs, the vehicles themselves, with aliens standing next to him. I had asked you then, so could he describe what they looked like, or can you tell me what he told you? You then said to me something to the effect of he carries around with him a model, a head, that I think you said he found at a swamp meet or something like that, or
he basically picked it up
somewhere along the line,
sure.
Because it was very close to what he saw, right?
Yes, there are particular features on this model that he understands are accurate. This is his understanding. Because of your unique experience, we'd also love to run this past you. That's really...
See, this is an honest reaction, and I did see on the laptop that particular still version. One thing that stood out with me when we were having the phone conversation, which was exactly what you were about to say, which was he said it was very close replica, but the nose and the mouth were a little more less defined on the ET versus that model. First thing I noticed when I sat down was this thing looks very, very close to a species that I've seen, very close, right up at the face.
Good.
So I was, my reaction to that at first was, there's some authenticity here. Authenticity, I have a hard time with that word. And then as I look closer at it, and as I'm looking at it now, that's one of the first things. The nose is not right. The nose is a little too pronounced on this thing. And also how defined the mouth is. It's different. Now, something that stands out with me when it comes to this particular species of gray, because there was a situation that really, the face is so much in, the way the face looked is in my mind, and something I can't forget, that they have a leather-like texture to their faces, and you can see something akin to wrinkles, which defines one individual from another, meaning that I've seen drone beings, and these drone beings are the short 3-foot ones, so more or less, huge heads, huge giant teardrop eyes, skinny necks, and so forth, and they're worker beings, and I believe them to be half biological and half robotic.